Alright, so in this video we are going to continue looking at the algebra. Just take a note that in the previous videos I spoke a bit about factorization as well as question 1 and simplification. Alright, then I also, on this same playlist, the mathematics grade same playlist, I also added 2 videos I made for the technical math, but it's exactly the same for pure maths, but one is named equations, one is inequalities, and one is simultaneous equations. Please go and watch those videos as well, because it is important information you need to know for your own exams. Alright, so if you look at question 2.1, it says the volume of a cone is given by V is equal to 1 over 3 pi r squared h. Write down the value of r, the radius of a cone, in terms of V, pi, and h. So what they are doing is they're basically asking you to get r alone. So whatever else I need to take over. Okay, so if I write it down, I get V is equal to pi 1 over 3 pi radius squared h. So everything that is not my r has to go over. So what's the first thing I can take over? Well, seeing as though all of these things are multiplying, I can immediately go and divide both sides with 1 over 3 pi h. So I can divide both sides by 1 over 3 by h. Alright, so this will give me V is equal to, V over 1 over 3 by h equal to r squared. Now, obviously, I still need to get r alone. So how am I going to get rid of that squared? I'm going to have to put both sides in a square root, which tells me that r is going to be equal to the square root of V over 1 over 3 by h. Alright, this is supposed to be an easy question. Don't go and overcomplicate it. Just take everything that is not that letter and take it over. What I also see them often do is they will, for example, tell you that ax plus b squared is equal to 2. And then they ask you, solve for x. Alright, it's exactly the same thing. Getting x alone, solving for x, making x the subject, all of it means exactly the same thing. I want to get x on its own. So everything that is not for x has to go over. So what's the first thing I'm taking over? I'm taking over my b squared. So the b squared is adding on this side, so if I take it over, it's going to become minus b squared. So I'm going to be left with ax equals to 2 minus b squared. Now I continue, so I want to get x alone. So what is still bothering me? What's still bothering me is this a. So then to get rid of the a, I'm going to divide both sides by a, which then leaves me with x equals to 2 minus b squared over a. X is alone, so I did my part. Alright, so this is an important one to know. Alright, so sometimes we don't just give you a fancy formula, we just give you a normal x with letters, but it means the same thing, get x alone. So everything that's not x, you take over. Alright, then question 2.2, I already explained the simultaneous equation in a previous video, so just go and look underneath the playlist for the video marked simultaneous equations. And then I just want to look at an inequality, if an inequality maybe ends up looking like this one. Alright, so they gave us minus 3 less or equal to 3 plus 2x less than 13. Now what do I need to do? I need to get x alone. But now I must ask myself, where is x? X is in the middle, which means whatever I'm taking over, I have to take to the left hand side and I have to take it over to the right hand side. So when x is in the middle, you have to take everything over to the left and the right to get your answer. Alright, so I'm going to start. So if I need to get x alone, what's the first thing that has to go over? The first thing I need to take over is this 3. So this 3 is positive, so I'm going to take it over to the left and I'm going to minus a 3. And I'm going to take it over to the right hand side and I'm going to minus a 3. So I have minus 3 minus 3, which gives me minus 6. Okay, I already took over my 3, so I don't have that anymore. I only have my 2x. and then I have 13 minus 3, which gives me 10. Now I can go on from here, and because I have 2, I don't want the 2, so I need to divide everywhere. So it's on the left hand side and on the right hand side with 2, which then gives me minus 3 less than or equal to x, and then 5. So what does this tell me? It tells me that x lies between -3 and 5. So if you have to go and indicate this on a number line, you have to put in these two values. So I have to put in my -3 and my 5. Okay, so there's -3 and there is 5. Now remember, if there is an equal sign, such as there, then you have a colored in dot. If there is no equal sign, then it's going to be an open circle. So at -3, there's obviously an equal sign, so it's going to be a closed circle. And then at 5, there is no equal sign, so it's an open circle. And then I just connect the two. Alright, so this is what happens when x is in the middle. Just remember that when you divide with a negative, okay, if you had to divide with a negative, your inequality sign flips around. Okay, but I did explain this in the previous inequality video better. But important, if your x is in the middle, you have to take everything over to the left and the right hand side.